Hey everyone, welcome to Super Merch Bros, where we focus on gaming artifacts, guides, and merchandise you can get your hands on in real life. For the first ever episode, we decided to focus on the oddball nested adventure game Startropics, and the rare and mysterious letter packed away inside. Ready, Alex?
Ready, dog.
Then let's get right to it. The debut episode of Super Merch Bros starts right now.
The Legend of Zelda for the Nintendo Entertainment System is one of the few games out there whose reputation is almost untouchable. Say what you will, Zelda changed things. Suddenly, blockbuster games began to rely less on repetitive arcadey gameplay, instead focusing on things like plot and immersion.
Enter Startropics, a bizarre offshoot of the classic Zelda style released in 1990 by Nintendo for the exclusive American release. It features the quirky and complicated story of a star pitcher, Mike Jones, who searches the mysterious sea island for his missing uncle, the archaeologist Dr. Stephen Jones.
This sets Mike off on a crazy adventure involving monsters, talking animals, submarines, and aliens that takes him to outer space and back after a super tough series of dungeons and puzzles. Sure, it doesn't look like much now, but back in 2008, when it came out on the Wii Virtual Console, IGN called it the natural evolution of The Legend of Zelda, mainly because the gameplay and story were so involving and, you guessed it, immersive.
Of course, the reason we're all here is the letter. Packaged with the game was a small piece of parchment paper, and written on it was a letter from your uncle, asking you to come for a visit. At first, it just seems like a little novel little souvenir, right? But about halfway through the game, you have to input a specific frequency into your submarine, and at first, there's not really an obvious solution.
Until you're reminded of your uncle's last known words, which, hilariously enough, remind you to dip the letter in water. And sure enough, if you have presence of mind to step out of the game and grab that real physical letter that came in your game box, you could dip it in water and get the code. Awesome. It was 747, by the way.
Yeah, and it was such a tough puzzle that just a little while after the game came out, Nintendo published a solution in the Nintendo Power magazine. Still, it was pretty cool to see them try and do, especially when they replicate it in the Wii Virtual Console version.
So without any further ado, let's take a look at this thing. That's right, we got one in real life.
So this is Startropics. I've never played this game before. I've had one fan send it to us.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to ruin what he sent us, so I purchased separately a Startropics just for this demonstration.
Well, yeah, but it's also really tough to find one that has the
letter inside.
Yeah, the actual letter inside of it. So let's just unbox it real quick.
Yeah. So obviously, well, you have the game, of course. And back in the day, when Nintendo consoles needed protection, or games needed protection, they gave us Nintendo sleeves.
Yeah, before they realized that Nintendo games are literally invincible.
It's very true.
Didn't they show, like, there was like a Game Boy, like, that was like in a tank in Afghanistan or something?
Something like that.
Yeah.
So they gave us a piece of styrofoam to ensure that everything...
That's what the cartridge, like, sits on.
Yeah, okay. So that I didn't know that. So, instruction booklet, standard operation that comes with the game, and of course the almighty
letter from Uncle Steven. So, but here's the problem. We got this one on eBay, and like, you know, whatever. It's like in pretty.
It's like all right for what it is.
But like, what happened was, unfortunately, was that the the gray,
adhesive gray
stuff like went through and got on the letter a little bit, and we have no idea.
We hope this works.
Yeah, we have no idea. There's no guarantee. So we can only dip it once safely. So we're gonna like do it live-ish for you right now. So you're gonna be able to see.
So here we go.
Yeah. Well, I just want to like give a little background. So like, this is the letter, and it's like a typed out letter. It's signed from your Uncle Steve, and it's very, very, as you can see, it's very fragile. This is a very rare thing to have, but. The game itself kind of plays like Zelda, and it's really,
very much like Zelda.
Yeah, it's really neat and like super weird, and it kind of gives me the same kind of feeling that Earthbound does, where it's like set in the modern world, but it's like super weird.
It's interesting that this is a first-party Zelda Nintendo game.
Yeah,
This is literally a Zelda clone from the company who made Zelda.
Yeah, but you know, it came out in 1990. 1990. It came out in 1990, and it's made by the same people. I forget what his name is. His name's like Shoyu. I'm not gonna try and say a Japanese man's name from memory, but he's the guy who developed. His team developed Punch-Out, and so they're like a pretty neat, like internal, like super internal Nintendo team. And the whole point of Startropics was to appeal to like Western audience.
Yeah,
and it was really well received critically. It's a really neat game, super weird. It's like
you can get it now on the Wii console.
Like we showed. But it's like this bizarre, like sort of like set in the real world. There's like talking animals, aliens. It's real weird.
It's bizarre. But it's still fun regardless. I think it's important. It's very fun.
So here's what's gonna happen: is I'm gonna pretend like I'm gonna dunk this in the water right now.
And then we're gonna just jump cut to a very
and then we're
nice, clean version.
Yeah, and then we're gonna do an insert of it, and then we're gonna see what happens with it, and then we're gonna tell you how it went. So I'm gonna move to dunk it in the water, and it's gonna cut to an actual shot of me dunking.
Magic.
So here we go. Ready?
Oh god, don't! I hope it just doesn't fall apart. Oh no! Ah! Oh, it kind of is there. You might need to dip it more.
I'm just gonna.
You can see that
it's like coming.
Oh shit! It is.
All right. So wow. So that was.
This is nuts. I can't believe this actually worked.
That was absolutely harrowing. I thought I was gonna like rip this paper in half when I pulled it out of the water.
Holding it ever, you feel like you're gonna rip it.
It's like Indiana Jones. Like you're just like when he's like trying to like switch the bag with his.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna try and read this real quick. So it says, Mike, I found some strange ciphers in my last voyage. Since then, someone has been watching me. I put a tiny transmitter in my shoe. Its frequency is 747 megahertz. Perhaps I worry too much, but better to be safe than sorry. Sincerely, Uncle Steve. So, you use that in the game to like input it into a thing that tracks him, and then that's
through the submarine, if I recall.
Yeah, so that's how so that's how you find your uncle. So,
and this is Nintendo. Again, this is first party.
Yeah,
doing some fun, innovative things like this.
There was like a few, I think, like PC games and stuff that were doing stuff like this, but like that was like a little bit more. They were a little bit more like upfront about it. But like this was before like Metal Gear Solid. This was before any of that stuff.
I just need to read this inscription on the bottom. It says,
it's fun.
Caution: do not taste, eat, or otherwise consume this paper. Note: this letter is very important, so please hold on to it till the end of the game.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, that was really, really neat, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this. We're gonna try and do like
stuff like this,
items from games like this, pieces of merchandise like old players' guides.
We also are partnering with some companies like Fangamer and the Yeti to send us like neat T-shirts and fun little products that they sell.
Like neat things that are like themed, that like are fan made kind of merch, and so it's gonna be a fun just like look at products and other things about gaming besides games.
I'm also a huge collector of collector's editions of games, and I have a bunch of sealed ones that I've never opened, or ones that I have opened and I've like maybe lost a few items, or I've actually like they're still intact.
So
that's what the show's about. We're gonna tell you the history about the games. We're gonna show you what's inside the box and kind of talk about it from there. So this was really cool, super successful, Alex. I
thought that it was gonna be like we were gonna like put it in and it was gonna be like
just gonna combust.
But I was reminded about this game by Amanda, who's running the camera right now, and she told me that when she was a kid she did it, and her dad like called her in the bathroom, and like was like, check this out, this is amazing. So
I'd love to see stuff like this again.
Yeah,
just the idea of bringing the family around to hone in on this.
Dude, I mean, and
it seems so stupid.
What better
so
company
cool
to do it than Nintendo, though, right?
Yeah.
So that was Super Merch Bros. Hope you enjoyed it. Let us know what you think in the comments. Don't roast us too hard. Later, man.
Later, man.